to another episode of the Quotes and Mirrors podcast. I am Relic.
Sure you are. And I am Uncommonterry.
Yeah, sure you are.
I love how we're able to start every show with laughter. I appreciate that. Mostly laughing at you, though. So, yeah. It is what it is. But yes, another episode of Quotes and Mirrors on another Monday night. I don't know how y'all day was. My day is always busy right up to about 8:58. But nonetheless, I look forward to it all day. As soon as we hang up, I look forward to the next show. So here we are, Quotes and Mirrors. For those of you who have never listened before, we decide on a quote and decide to reflect on it. And obviously, we're going to get different reflections because I'm me and he's light skinned. So, we do go back and forth choosing the quotes. Tonight was mine. And I guess I had to pull this quote from a video. By the way, are you able to play the video?
I was trying to. I was trying to get that together, but
No. Okay. No problem.
I can play it. I can play it through the mic. You just won't be able to watch it, but I can play it.
Well, I think so. That's cool if they could just hear.
Yeah.
Hear the statement being made. But at any rate, the quote for tonight, Miss Raquel Hopkins. You did a little bit of research. Because I didn't know what her last name was exactly.
It's on her on her Instagram, the same Instagram link that you sent me. It's on there.
I was just looking at I saw the capacity. I think it said capacity expert.
Yeah,
I stopped there.
Right next to that, it says her actual name.
Shut up. I stopped right there. I like that
research part. Anything.
I like that part. At any rate, the quote is, mental health isn't something you protect. Yo, just to get us some context, since you're able to play the audio, can you do that real quick?
Yeah, I can do that. I got it ready. Hold up.
So when people say mental health is important, I try to figure out what exactly do you mean? Because when I hear that, what I think you're saying is that we should take care of it and protect it. And if that's the case, then you just proved to me that we, society, we have absolutely no idea what mental health actually is. Because mental health isn't something that you protect. And I'll keep saying it over and over again. It's something that you use. It's a vehicle. It's not this delicate thing that needs to be sheltered from stress, discomfort, or adversity. It's how you think, feel, and function in response to life, especially during the hard parts. And if your definition of taking care of your mental health means cutting people off, only existing in safe place, setting boundaries, and avoiding anything toxic, you don't have mental health. You have fragility. And here's what people don't want to hear. Fragility isn't a flex. It means your ability to handle life is conditioned on things being easy, predictable, or perfectly aligned with your comfort. It means stress destabilizes you instead of stretching you. It means you mistake challenges for threats, discomfort for danger, and boundaries for personal growth when all you're really doing is buying yourself time. Mental health should be strong, adaptive, and resilient. But if your mental health requires the world around you to accommodate it, then what you have isn't strength. It's dependence on the right conditions, okay? So let me ask you, when you say mental health is important, do you actually mean building capacity to handle life? Or do you just mean, I don't want to deal with anything hard anymore? So when...
Okay, so that last part I think is the question. Do I just not have capacity to deal with it, or everything just got to be perfect for me to be okay? So I assume you got some thoughts. You look like you're swelling up about to burst. So let's get into it. Talk to me.
You can start off. You go ahead.
Oh, well, I will start off by saying that I agree with her.
I figured you would.
Yeah, with her perspective. Because I do think some of the key things she was saying specifically. Now, I think that the way that it was worded, where it said it's not something that you protect, I will say that I take issue with that, because I do think you should protect it, but I don't think it should be sheltered, right? And so I think that there's a difference between those two, and I think that just as we talked a while back in reference to protecting the kids and how people spend too much time trying to protect their kids, and where you trying to stand in front of them and anything that they might actually encounter, which will at some point is going to have you prove to yourself what you already know, that you can't be in two places at one time. So rather than protect them, you need to prepare them to protect themselves. And that's what I get from what she's saying in this situation, is that you need to prepare yourself. You know what I mean? You're going to have to endure some things. You can't just avoid, walk around, run from everything. You're going to have to endure some things in order to strengthen yourself, because the world around you is not going to be perfect. And you can't just whine and complain because it's not. And then be like, well, that's my truth, which I know you're going to say at some point during this podcast. So I figure I'd go ahead and mock it early.
Didn't hurt.
But and I will say the other thing that it reminds me of is when COVID happened.
Mm-hmm.
People were fully justified with masking up. No problem. Because hundreds of thousands of people was dying. So you had people that was definitely like, yeah, put the mask on, all these people was dying. But then you had the group of people, not that were just against vaccination or masking up for the sake of rebellion, but you had like clinical people, doctors, scientists that were saying, like, to some degree, all of this protection is actually weakening your immune system because it's not coming in contact with anything that will cause it to fight, that will cause it to be able to respond and develop the white blood cells and so on and so forth. And so that's another way that I kind of relate this to what she's saying, is that you're just so protected that you're fragile.
Okay, so I want to piggyback off of that example.
Okay.
I never got COVID because of the way that I protected my immune system. And my immune system isn't fragile because of the way that I protect it. So I don't get sick. I don't have issues. I don't have a weakened immune system because I protect it.
You protect it how?
By doing things to build up my immune system. The type of the juices that I make with fruits and vegetables, the cell food that I take, which works on the cellular level. Those are the two biggest things. Honestly, I honestly believe the cell food is the reason that I never got COVID. But they're not paying us, so I don't want
to. Well, I'm saying though, so okay. So did you ever come in contact with anybody that did have COVID?
Oh yeah, several times.
But you didn't get COVID.
I slept in the bed next to COVID.
But you didn't get COVID.
No. Grandson had it right up on me. Daughter, son, everybody around me had it. And I was right up on each and every one of them when they had it. And now I didn't continue being up on them, but before we knew that that's what it was, I was right up there on them. Like, yeah. I had
okay. So you didn't quarantine your life, but yet you still didn't get sick.
No, I protected my immune system.
You prepared your immune system.
I protected it.
Same thing.
Okay, cool. Then we both win.
Yeah. Because the thing is, because see, the way that you didn't protect it by quarantining. You didn't protect it by, purifying your atmosphere. You prepared it so that when it encountered disease, it was ready to fight it.
I created boundaries. So this is one of the things that she said. That's one of the biggest things that I want to talk about. She said, my biggest issue with what she said is that if I understood this correctly, because I don't want to misquote her, and I don't remember what she said verbatim, but based off of what I heard, it seems like she's saying isolation is fragility. Setting boundaries is based off of you being fragile. You have to protect your mental health because you're fragile.
I think that's a piece of what she was saying.
Right. And that's
I
the
do.
piece that I have the biggest issue with.
Mm-hmm.
No, because so for me, yeah, I have to protect my mental health um to prevent it from being fragile, to prevent me from being around people or things that could cause it to weaken and to become fragile. But my mental health is what it is because of the boundaries that I set. Yo, if a person around, so it seems like what she's saying is, and I wonder if according to her, I want to make sure I say this right. I'm wondering if she thinks that people are looking at mental health and saying mental health when they should be saying emotional health.
Well, I think in large degree, um, that's what people are doing. I think myself, I would have to agree with that, but also, but I do also still agree with what she's saying because I mean, there's a thing called mental toughness. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? That um, you have to sometimes you just got to endure. You got to navigate, negotiate whatever the circumstance may be, and it can't just be because and the biggest thing for that for me in situations is where there's certain relationships that I deem necessary.
Mhm.
Like me and you, I deem this relationship necessary. I don't know what you could do that would have me just be like, just you flapping in the wind and that's it. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
there's like, in order to maintain the relationship, now there's gonna, I would imagine there will come a point where it wouldn't be necessarily so healthy for me, but I believe whatever you're going through that whatever you're doing that is unhealthy for me is easily 10 times unhealthy for you. You know what I mean? And I feel like for me, I can't just back away from, again, from certain relationships. I can't just back away. They go my boundary. I'm not letting you do this. I'm not letting you do that because it's kind of a thing like you can't receive a gift with a closed hand. You can't give it with a closed hand either. You're gonna have to at some, you know what I mean, have the strength to allow yourself to be vulnerable, allow yourself to be um really to be hit to see what you can endure, to learn how to maneuver so as not to be hit at the, you know, the next time, something along those lines. But just the way that people talk about it now, and that's what she speaks about a lot, is talk about mental health now, because man, it's so easy for people to just be like, I'm protecting my peace and this is my truth and all this other BS just because somebody disagrees with you. Yeah, I mean, like she was saying towards the end, I forget exactly what her words were towards the end of that. Um, but basically, like, just because somebody disagree with you, now we can't talk. We can't have a disagreement.
Right. So and I think that for those people, all right, I'll say this. I think that we're in a time right now where there are a lot of very weak-minded people. And there are a
Agreed.
lot of people. So mental health has become trendy now.
Yeah,
It's like it's the cool thing now to say, "Oh, I have mental health issues, whatever." And I believe that a lot of these people are lying. Um,
yeah,
if you truly understood what it what it felt like to deal with depression, like what real depression feels like. Yo, it's absolute torture. It is torture. I want absolutely nothing to do with this. But for me, for somebody like me who really does have the chemical imbalance, you know, it's not just a mental toughness thing for me. So the reason that I have to create boundaries is because I do have triggers. So I can't be around certain people, I can't be around certain environments because it's going to serve as a trigger for me. So I have to create those boundaries. It doesn't mean that I'm fragile. I mean, and listen, my story. I've, my diagnosis came when I was what, 12 years old, right? There ain't nobody, and there's been a lot of different things. Now, with all of my diagnoses, the PTSD, depression, the anxiety, the ADHD, all of these different things, all of these mental health issues that I deal with. But you also know there ain't nobody in my life that's going to say that I'm mentally weak, that I'm fragile.
Okay.
And part of the reason that I'm not so fragile is because of the way that I have protected my mental health. Because I understand that I can't go into certain environments. I can't be around certain people. Yo, and it's not, and when she was talking about cutting off people, yeah, some people need to be cut off because some people are cancer. Why do I want to keep cancer? I don't want cancer. Cancer gotta go. So if there's certain people that are in my that are in my life and they are just like they are draining me of my mental energy, they have to go. They have to go. So being in certain environments, being around certain people, is only going to cause you to become fragile. It's going to cause that fragility that she's speaking of. So I got to protect myself from all of that stuff. I got to stay away from all of that stuff. It doesn't make me weak. It actually makes me stronger. It's empowering.
So how is it? How does it make you stronger? I'm not saying it makes you weak, but I am curious: is how does it make you stronger?
Because if I'm around somebody who is in cancer and they're draining me, the minute that they're gone, my strength returns.
But the minute that they show up, your weakness is present.
Which means, but okay, if that's the case, now that I'll say this. I really want to be careful with the way that I word that with me because I'm a little different because I'm able to just I don't care. I'm able to just snap my fingers and stop caring. It's like whatever, about the person, about the situation, or whatever. And I know everybody isn't able to do that, right?
Hold on, because that right there, we can't just run past, right?
Okay.
What do you mean? Because it's I won't say it's contradictory, but it is interesting that those two scenarios exist. That on one hand, you can just snap it off, doesn't matter to me, I don't care. But on the other hand, I need boundaries because I have triggers. How do those two things share the same space?
And that's what I was about to explain. Okay. So, it's me acknowledging the existence of the person or the situation and knowing the potential outcome of me remaining in a certain situation or around a certain person, right? There's so much energy that goes into that chess match at that point. I'd rather not have that chess match. So it's easy. So when I say I can snap my fingers and stop caring, what I mean is I can walk away from a situation or I can cut somebody off and act like you never even existed to me. I don't care at that point. I don't care. And the reason it's so easy for me to do that is because I feel that I do everything that I'm supposed to do. Now, somebody else may have a different story, but I don't care about them at this point. I feel that I do everything that I'm supposed to do for the relationships, for the people that are around me, and for the relationships that I build with people. I feel that I do everything that I'm supposed to do to build this relationship. When you're not doing your part, I'm done with you. And I'm okay with that because you didn't do what you were supposed to do to make this relationship what it's supposed to be. So that's what I mean by I can snap my fingers and stop caring. And that's why I've just been able to just cut people off left and right. The other thing, but again, it's not so easy for other people, especially people that have the same issues that I have. It's not so easy for them to do that. This has taken years and years of practice of me doing this. Would you say?
That was going to be my next question. How did you develop that? Because it seems to me that is mental health. That is you being solid enough mentally to not be affected by a circumstance. Because see, I'm this type of cat. I'm never gonna tell you I'm not talking to you. I'm never gonna be like, I ain't speaking to you.
Right.
But when you say I ain't speaking to you, okay. I'm not going to give you the opportunity to reject me by now trying to speak to you. I haven't cut you off. I let you cut you off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so
I'm with you.
Yeah. And so it's like that kind of scenario. But for you, because to be able to snap it off like that, it's really again, I can't say it enough. I'm a facts over feelings type of cat. I ain't got time to be dealing with nonsense that I've identified as nonsense. It don't mean that I got to walk away from it, but I am in a position where you're gonna run out of space, not because I'm backing up, but because I won't back up, and eventually you got to run smack dead into me. I'm not that easy to move. You know, but that's mental health versus right now people use it as a scapegoat.
They do.
They use it as a scapegoat, and I get that there. I will say this. I will say this. There is a gray, right?
Welcome.
But the reason I say that there is a gray is because there is going to be a scenario where somebody is going to be serious and really need the distance or the boundary or whatever, and it be perceived as them just using it as a scapegoat. You know what I mean? And the vice versa is true. So then that's why I say that there's a gray. But right now, people leaning on mental health and acting like absolutely everything is trauma. Just absolutely everything is trauma. Oh my God. I was on a train with so many people today. I think I'm claustrophobic. Oh my God. I just
they self-diagnose there. They do all of that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're just like, just what is going on? No, ma'am, you do not have testicular cancer because you have a pelvic pain. No, ma'am, you do not.
Yo. So
I'm just saying, because it's so easy, and not only is it so easy, that because there's so many instances where there is truth to it, that's actually what makes it so easy.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because the last thing you want to do is be the person that called fragile, and now they broke. You know what I mean? But I think, at some points you got to just do that. I can't, like you saying, when you're doing something, if you're doing everything that you have to do to maintain relationships, but every time you come to this person, it's a conflict, and you're doing the same thing with them that you're doing with other people, but you only have conflict with this person.
Why are they there?
Yeah, and I'm sorry, sir. You're the issue.
Yeah.
Not me. You were the issue, and so
you burnt this bridge. You burnt the bridge. I'll fan the fire because I want to remind, and I've said that for years. I do not burn bridges, but I will fan the fire back in your direction to remind you of who burnt this bridge. It was not me.
Right.
It was not me, but that also is part of creating boundaries.
See, I guess because I'm trying to think about boundaries, trying to think about myself and boundaries. Because like you won't burn the bridge, but you will fan the flame.
Mhm.
I don't burn bridges, but I will pull the ladder up. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I'm still available.
Mhm.
It's
I
still
hear that.
possible for you to get here. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? But you're gonna have to change some things about what you're doing in order to get here. You know what I'm saying? So I just
And
man,
and then for me, I wish you would find a way to bring your ass over here after that bridge has been burned. I wish you would find a way over here. You bring some more fire with you.
but what I'm saying is you're gonna have to change something.
Yeah,
You're gonna have to change something.
but the thing is,
Not
you
me.
only change what you can change, and that's yourself. You can't change anything outside of you. I mean, you can, but in
But
order
no,
to
but
be
no.
in control, in order to be in complete control,
Mhm.
you have to control you. The
Right, but
person that is
that's
controlling is the person that's trying to control everything around them.
but that's what I'm saying. When I pull the ladder up, I'm in control of that circumstance. Now, if you still want to get up here, I'm still up here. I'm still available, but you got to change something about who you are and what you got to do in order to get here, not me. You know what I mean? And that's not a to me like that's not a boundary. I'm not avoiding you. I'm just I'm I'm letting you know. As a matter of fact, I'm pushing you into a position to appreciate the access. And then when you don't have the access, you got to move different.
All right, so let me give you an example of my boundaries, right?
Mhm.
So I don't like big crowds. I don't like being around a whole bunch of people. At times, sometimes it's like I'm looking around and it sucks because of the things that I do. I have to be around a bunch of people, you know. But there are times where I'm in a room full of people or I'm outside somewhere and there's just a whole bunch of people around and I'm looking around and inside I'm having this fight. I'm like, it's like, all right, now it's too many people. We got to get up out of here. We got to create these boundaries. It's way too many people. We don't like this, right? So for me, in that moment, if I have to be there, I have to figure out how to isolate amongst a crowd because otherwise it's going to start to get to me. It's going to drive me crazy. And I'm gonna get an
Okay.
attitude. you know, I'm gonna start. I'm not gonna want to be there. I'm not gonna want to be around these people. So I have to figure out how to mentally isolate. Now, if that means I have to go dark for a second, if I got to get quiet, if I got to go find a corner somewhere and just be to myself for a second, maybe meditate. Meditation is meditation is my perfect boundary, honestly, because I can meditate at any moment and I can go to a place where it's only me. It doesn't matter how many people are around me. But
Mhm.
in that moment, because I'm dealing with something, I'm dealing with all of these people, and I'm also dealing with trying to manage my emotions and then trying to deal with managing my mental health, I have to isolate. I have to isolate. So meditation is my best way to isolate. So I go to my place. I go to my happy places. Since people call it whatever. And but
Mhm.
or what I call it my peaceful place. So I go to my peaceful place. I get that moment of peace, and then I'm able to just go ahead and proceed at that point. But
And
that
is
right,
this
huh?
when you exit,
Mhm.
is your exit transparent to the reality around you?
What you mean? You mean do people know what's going on with me?
Yeah. Is it
No,
obvious that you had to
no.
exit or that you exiting?
No, absolutely not. No, you would never know. You would never know. Hey, put it this way: it has happened at She's house,
Mm-hmm.
and y'all don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all don't know. I mean, and we talking about family, like the most important people in the world are around me. But at times, I'm starting to shut down, and it's
Mm-hmm.
too much for me. It's too much, and then I'm like, okay, I gotta isolate. I have to start. I gotta protect this. I gotta
But
protect everything that I'm dealing with right now.
it sounds like when something is when it's too much for you, when something external is too much for you, then internally you become enough for you.
Yeah.
That's mental health.
Yeah.
Word
But
up.
but what's happening is I'm creating a boundary. That's mental health.
I mean,
I'm creating a boundary. And sometimes I create a boundary to the point of just leaving. Now, not she's house, of course, because that's she's. I ain't just gonna get up and leave. But
right.
other environments, yeah, I will just get up and I will leave because I have to protect me at that point. Yo, another way that I protect myself. Check this out. If because the way depression actually works, not all of this crap, because I really feel like this woman, I really feel like Raquel is maybe she's talking to all of these little weak-minded people out here, okay?
He's definitely
But
speaking to weak-minded people.
yeah, but I think that so with me, because my chemical may decide I wake up tomorrow morning. See, I can slip into a depression with absolutely no trigger at all. I will wake up in the morning and my chemical decides, you know what? We just gonna be sad today. And I'm like, oh, for real. Now I'm dealing with also dealing with the physical effects of this. It's draining me. I don't feel like getting up. I don't feel like being around people. I don't feel like talking. Right. On the days where I don't have to be around people, well, let's say that maybe I was going to be around people, but it wasn't a necessity. Now that's off the table. That's me creating a boundary because I don't feel like being around anybody. I don't feel like talking to people. My phone is ringing. I'm ignoring it. Text messages coming through. I'm not responding to text messages. I need to be with me. I need to protect me at this point. And it ain't nothing personal for anybody else. I got to protect me and my mental health. So I isolate.
So is that really? I mean, because see that right there is like that's like saying, man, I don't feel like it, and I need to protect me is the same thing. And sometimes I just don't feel like it. I'm just tired. I don't feel like it. It ain't. I ain't protecting myself from anything, from anyone, or anything. I mean, or any place or whatever. I'm just like,
If it
hey,
wasn't if it
I don't
wasn't
feel
for
like
the
going to this place.
depression, if it wasn't for the depression, then yeah, it would be that simple. But with the depression, it's not just I don't feel like it. It's I feel like I'm incapable. Yo,
Oh,
but yo, put it this so one time on my other podcast, the Art of Opinion podcast, when one day we were talking about mental health, and they asked me, they said, "Well, I don't know what depression feels like. Can you explain to me what it feels like?" And I was like, I tried to paint this picture for them. So imagine that you were in a dark room with no doors, no windows, and you were trying to figure out how to get out of this room. And you're just feeling around in the dark for an exit. And the more you feel around and you can't find an exit, the more all of the negative emotions start to increase. The more depressed you feel, the scarier it gets, the more infuriating, infuriate. Can't get the word out, but you know what I'm trying to say. But
all right, but go ahead.
frustrated. Okay, cool. We'll go with that word. Okay.
Yeah.
But the more frustrated you get, but the more hopeless you feel. Yo, hopelessness is by far the worst feeling I've ever felt before in my life. Because when I felt hopeless, I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to go to sleep, but I didn't want to be awake. I didn't want to leave the house, but I didn't want to be in the house. I didn't want to talk to anybody, but I didn't want to not talk to anybody. Yo, I'm so confused at this point as to what I'm supposed to be feeling. I think I know what I want to feel, but I have no idea how to arrive at that. So when I'm in this dark room, now the only thing that I know is that I got to get out of here, but I feel so hopeless. I feel so hopeless. All of that is draining. I'm in this dark room, all the lights on. If you're looking from the outside, you just see me laying there and it looks like I'm just doing absolutely nothing. And all the lights could be on and everybody around me could be happy and jovial, but I'm in this dark room trying to figure out how to get out of it. So it's not just as simple as I don't feel like doing it. No, I don't know how to get out of this room. I'm trying my best to get out of this room. And I'm feeling around in the dark for an exit. And I can't find the exit, which is why I've never been suicidal. But I hear people say that when somebody commits suicide, that they think that it's selfish. I personally, huh?
Go ahead.
I personally don't think that it's selfish. Or if it is selfish, I understand. I understand that because you're in that dark room and you're feeling around for an exit. And for that person who is suicidal, that person who unfortunately does take their life, they put their hand on a gun or on a rope or on a bottle of pills. That and as soon as they touch that, they're like, "Oh, an exit. I can get out of here now. I can get out of here." And that's their escape from that room. But if you ain't never been in that room, if you've never experienced that, man, when I tell you it's absolute torture, that's what. And when I was talking earlier about how it feels, how depression feels, and I said, as far as people thinking that it's all trendy and stuff, and I'm like, it is absolute torture. Trish chimed in. She said absolute torture. It is. It is. So it is. I'm telling you, it is absolute torture. So when you're dealing with that, you got to protect yourself. You have to protect your mental health, and you have to create boundaries. But and don't get me wrong. I think Raquel Hopkins. I think that she made some good points. I really do. I don't disagree with everything that she said. And I want to like I started following her on Instagram when you sent me that clip. Because I want to go through and see the other things that she's. I feel like that she's going to say a lot of things that I probably will agree with. Probably some more stuff that I don't agree with. But guess what? That's everybody in the world. So I'm not. So whatever. But
Right.
I think that, but I do think that there's a lot that I could probably listen to and learn from with her. I'm definitely open to that. It's just that this part right here, as far as equating equating protecting equating creating boundaries to fragility, I highly disagree with that. Highly disagree with that because that's no. It doesn't make me fragile to protect my mental health.
So, what about a person that doesn't feel like they need boundaries? Are they egotistical, arrogant?
I mean, they could be, but I would need to know the whole story. Okay, why do they feel as though they don't have to create boundaries?
I don't feel like I need boundaries. Go.
But see, so the thing is with you also you haven't experienced the things that I've experienced with mental health. See,
No.
you don't have mental health issues. You've never had to have those mental health issues. And the only thing, see, and you, I mean, you just built differently. You have a certain mental fortitude and toughness about you that it's unwavering. It's unwavering, and
I
I
mean,
don't honestly,
most of it
I
is
don't know,
Jesus.
huh?
Most of it is Jesus.
Yeah.
I was raised in a manner that prayer is my default, and that at some point, there's a point where I just have to let go and realize that I'm struggling, trying to. What for? What for? The whole time that I'm doing all of this and trying to get a hold, Jesus is like, "Hey, come off the field, dog. I got it."
And
Yeah, I
for the
mean,
and for
that
the people that it's not that simple for,
right.
God has given people the gift of therapy to help the rest of us who can't do that.
Now that I have to say, I agree with because you are not a clinical psychologist just because you are an ordained minister. You do not all of a sudden. Now, I'm not saying that God can't give you both, that they can't work together, but there is what's the word I'm looking for? Like okay, so if I'm praying, I'm not going to, when I know, like you talked about cancer earlier. We find out I got cancer, and the doc says, "Yo, we caught it early, so we can go in and cut it out. You'd be good to go." I just pray.
Right.
No.
Right. Yeah.
No. It's not a situation where I'm going to forego, because God gave me this cat too, with the knowledge of what to do. You know what I'm saying? I'm not just gonna forego that and be like, yeah, I just pray. Don't worry about it. Same thing with mental therapy. I mean, with mental health and the therapists, they have their role.
Right.
I don't have a need for boundaries, and mostly because you can only be a certain kind of person and stay around me, not because I'm going to walk away from you but I'm too, like, first of all, I absolutely love the truth. So you can't stand in front of me and lie for so long.
Right.
You're gonna, you know what I mean? So I guess, and it could be maybe that I don't have a need to set boundaries because they kind of set themselves in a way where, and by the way,
I can definitely see that with you. Yeah.
I'm also not saying I'm better than anybody. Let me be very clear about that. I'm not better than the person that needs boundaries, right? At all. I'm not saying I'm stronger than the person that needs boundaries. I am saying, in reference to what she was saying, that there are people that identify that they are fragile and choose to stay that way. Because rather than finding strength in a struggle and getting to the other side of the thing, they just rather, cower to my truth. Everybody that's saying that is not in the same boat. Excuse me, not in the same boat. But so, I guess I would just challenge, because again, so I've never been in that room that you're talking about. I've never been in that room, and even like I feel like I'm pretty strong mentally. Don't mean I don't have any fears.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I don't consider myself fragile because I have a fear.
Right.
Now, well, not in reference to all of them. If a snake run up, I got a problem.
Yeah, especially if it run up.
Yeah, if a snake run up, yeah, I got a problem. You know where else I got a problem? Sitting in the dentist chair. Dental pain is the most excruciating pain I myself could experience. And my sister would tell you, if they could see the chat, she'll probably call me a punk in this chat somewhere. She probably would.
Let me make sure she does that.
Because in the chair, yeah, I can't stand it because I can't control it, and it has to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have to endure it. It has to happen in order for.
Yo, she said he's a punk. Yes.
Told you. She'll tell you 100%. But so you put me in that chair. Nah, I'm still gonna go, and I'm gonna endure it. But you put me in that chair, thinking about some pain. I don't want to do it. I'm as much as I can. Yeah, doc, y'all can't just put me to sleep. Can't y'all just put me to sleep? At the same time, standing face to face with a cat to decide it's necessary for him to swing at my jaw and maybe cause the same pain. I don't have the same fear for that cat.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? All right. Hit me if you can. You know? I don't have the same fear for that cat. So, but I don't have the need for boundaries. And a lot of times it is difficult for me to understand when people do have a need for boundaries, because I'm just like, yo, like I told you before, I don't have nigga triggers. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And literally, by the way, because the thing is so crazy to me when you see somebody that's racist decide they want to call you a nigga, and you know it's 100% for the reaction, and you still react.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, I'm calling you a nigga. Nigga, what? What? You know what I mean? But go ahead.
So so Trish was saying that therapy saved. She said therapy saved me. But Trish, I'm a little confused. You said therapy saved woke me. I'm not sure exactly what you were saying right there, but she's saying that therapy saved her. So now I will say this on the flip side, especially now if we bringing up fears.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that with in a lot of instances when we're talking about dealing with fears, that it is best to try to figure out how to deal with the fear before it comes to deal with you.
Okay.
When I was when I you brought up the snake thing, I'm gonna get to the snake thing in a second. But when I was younger and I started therapy when I was 12 years old, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my therapist asked me, now of course I'm in therapy because of all that stuff that happened, with the
Right.
so my therapist asked me, she said, what are your fears?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I'm afraid of elevators because I had a fear of being stuck on an elevator, right? So I said, I'm afraid of elevators, I'm afraid of drowning, I'm afraid of snakes. And of course, the reason that I was there, the main reason that I was there, I'm afraid of getting murdered. I just saw my friend's dead body on the ground. The dude that killed her is supposed to be coming after me now, so I'm messed up. And this happened when I was 10. I
Yeah.
didn't get into therapy until I was 12. But so instead of her dealing with that big fear, what she said was, she said, okay, I want you to close your eyes right now and just imagine a very like perfect scene, and I want you to create that scene one piece at a time. So I created this scene in my head where this it was like it was a tree, like I was out like in this big field. It's like a slight breeze, but it's like the perfect weather, bright beautiful day. It
Unicorn.
was you said unicorn. so so I created this scene, right? And she said, when you get on an elevator, I want you to create this scene the same way you just sat here and did that. I want you to create this scene one piece at a time, right? So I said, okay, next time I got on an elevator, that's what I did. I created that scene one piece at a time. By the time I finished creating that scene, the doors were opening. I was getting off of the elevator, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as time went on, I realized what she was doing. She wasn't just helping me get over my fear of elevators. She was showing me how to create calm and peace in the midst of chaos, but she was also showing me how to confront my fears. So because of that, what I did was every other fear that I had, I said, I'm going to come to that. I'm going to go to the fear before it gets to me.
Mm-hmm.
So my fear of drowning, what I would do is, now I took a bit of an extreme approach to, me getting over my fears, but I hate fears so much that I didn't want to have them. So
Mm-hmm.
I would go to the pool, go under the water, hold my breath for as long as possible, because this is the closest I can get to drowning, and it's on my terms. So that actually helped me to get over my fear of drowning. I had the fear of snakes that you had. What did I do? I went and took this picture with this huge snake wrapped around me. Now I still hate them, but I'm not scared of them anymore. Like, remember last week I told you I was cutting my grass, snake comes up. I'm trying to go kill the thing, but it got away because it was like right by some trees. So I couldn't get past the trees to get to the snake. But now I'm not scared of them. I was afraid. No, I can't do that one. But go, what's up?
So your fear of drowning, did you learn to swim?
Oh, I taught myself how to swim.
Here we go. All right,
Yeah.
that one makes sense to me. This whole
Yeah.
meditating underwater
Yeah.
situation, I ain't really follow. Like maybe learn to tread water at least. You just like, I thought I might drown, so then I thought I might drown. Nigga, what?
I can't tread water though. That's the thing. I
You
suck
can't
at
tread
that.
water?
I cannot tread water, yo. I can't.
You can. You haven't yet, but you can.
The problem with haven't yet, I keep on haven't yet, which makes me think that I can't.
I'm not sure you taught yourself to swim.
I taught myself how to swim. I just didn't teach myself how to tread water.
Hold on. Can you swim on top of the water or just under the water?
Yo, I gotta go under the water. Like I can do it on top of the water, but then I'm like, this is stupid. And I go right under. Like I gotta go under the water to swim.
You understand that the goal is to get above the water.
So, yeah, I'll do that when I'm finished. When I get to the other side.
Jesus.
When I get to the other side where I see, because I got my eyes open the whole time. When I get to where I'm trying to go, then I come up.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's still swimming.
I mean, it is still swimming. It's not quite the way like being a submarine and being a sailboat is not the same thing.
Hey, check this out. If I'm trying to get to shore, it doesn't matter if I'm in a submarine or a sailboat. As long as I get to where I'm going, I've reached the goal.
Oh, wow. All right. Anyway, but the other thing was the snake. I've never confronted that fear. I'm actually I'm comfortable in people knowing I'm afraid of snakes. There you go. Don't care.
Just call me out because I'll come kill it. I ain't got no problem with killing a snake.
Yeah, I would have an issue. I think the only way, like, especially if it was just me, if it was one of my babies, my wife, all right, I gotta do it.
Then you got somebody to throw at the snake, so you can get away.
Oh,
yo,
what? What's up?
No, your reaction. Well, your non-reaction was hilarious to me.
What are we talking about here? But anyway, but that's what I was gonna say. The method that she gave you to deal with the elevator is mental health. She didn't tell you to just take the stairs. Don't get on elevators anymore. You know what I mean? You were developing mental health because you were exercising it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but what I did was I had to isolate. I went to my mental place of peace. I created a boundary. So that I could find peace amongst the chaos.
Yeah, but you created a boundary that was unnecessary unless you had engaged with the circumstance. So you protected yourself by preparing yourself, and now you don't have to do the same thing. Now you don't get in an elevator and dream of unicorns. You just push a button and go up.
Right, exactly. Yeah. But
and then when it gets to your 4, you gallop off on your unicorn. No.
Yo, I'll be honest with you. I think you're jealous because I got a unicorn and you don't. I think that's what this really is about.
Yo, I'm just saying. I mean, your imagination is amazing. It's taking you places. It's taking you places that you by yourself would not go.
Nope. You see what happens when you create boundaries?
I mean, again, but you faced the circumstance, huh? You did, and now you better.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is I'm better because of the boundaries that I created.
Yeah, but still within the circumstance. You didn't create it so that you did not engage. You engaged and you learned how to engage. As a matter of fact, in the particular instance of the elevator, you didn't even come in contact with. You literally went into the circumstance and developed the mental health, the mental wellness, the mental strength to endure it.
Now,
You know what I mean?
but we're also talking about fears. So in so with fears, we're the purpose of me developing those, that type of mental fortitude when it comes to the fears is if in the event the fear comes to me, I'm now prepared to deal with it, right? But it's not always that easy when we step outside of fears. It's not always that easy because now let's say it's a person that I'm dealing with, somebody that is like a person that is a cancer,
Mm-hmm.
person that is a cancer, or a group of people. Like I may have to isolate myself and get away from these cancers because yo, if I don't have to deal with the people, I'm not going to deal with the people. So yeah, I had to get on an elevator. I mean, I could have taken the steps, but me going up to the 11th floor, I ain't taking any steps, you
That's a
know.
choice.
So in my mind, yeah, I got to get on the elevator.
Yeah,
But but
that's a choice.
right, but if I had the option, if I was only going up one floor, you just take the steps.
I mean, maybe, but that ain't really the point. That's the truth.
Yeah, but that's also me protecting my mental health because if I know that getting on this elevator is going to cause some level of anxiety and I don't have to do it, I'm not going to do it.
But if you can deal with that anxiety and go to the 11th floor, when you choose not to go to the first floor, it's not because you're incapable. You just chose not to.
Right, but if I get on that elevator and I have anxiety from floor 1 all the way up to floor 11, I don't care if the next time I have to get on the elevator I'm only going up to floor 1. This ain't about how many floors I got to go up. This is about me not wanting to deal with that anxiety.
Yeah, but you are capable of dealing with the anxiety.
Yeah, but being capable of dealing with it doesn't mean I want to.
No, but I'm just saying, but
And if
that's
I have
not
the
what,
option not to, I'm not going to do it.
but then in that case, the longer you would have to deal with that anxiety because you refuse to use the mental health that you have established to overcome it.
So if you, let's say, all right, let's bring back up the snake issue, right? So let's say you out somewhere, you with your babies, a snake slithers up and you can't get them away. Like y'all are cornered. So now your biggest fear is right there in front of you, but you also can't let it get to your babies.
Right.
So you take this snake out. Let you stomp on the snake,
Mm-hmm.
right? Let's say you stomp on the snake, and now they're gone, right? Now you dealt with it. You were capable of dealing with the snake, but that don't mean that you want to do it again. That doesn't mean that if you see a snake somewhere, if you walking down the street and a snake is laying across the sidewalk, it doesn't mean just because I already took this last snake out that all right, I'm willing to go do this again. No, you're just gonna cross the street and go around the snake.
Yeah, but we're not talking about desire. You know what I mean? Nobody desires to be anxious. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
but I
But
was so about desire
but
either though.
but you just said want. That's desire.
I think we missed each other somehow. So something something
Well,
happened.
what I'm
I
saying is this.
think
What I'm saying is this. Just because I stomped that snake out, first of all, the snake being present and my kids being present, my kids being harmed or not being able to protect them from the snake now becomes my biggest fear, not the snake.
right.
Right.
Actually, I was about to say that too. Yeah, but
Which
yeah.
is why I'm gonna go ahead and handle what I gotta handle. If it bite
Right.
me, it bite me. It better bite me
Hmm.
versus my babies. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Hmm.
So that doesn't mean that now I'm looking for snakes to stomp. I agree with that. I agree with that. But if we if we have to go through like a wooded area, I'm aware snakes could be here, but I'm also this is what I gotta do. So I gotta do. I'm not about to take when I can go a mile this way to get where I got to get, but I'm gonna walk 10 miles this way just to avoid the possibility of a snake. I'm not doing that.
All right, but check this out. If it's a mile this way and it's a mile that way to avoid the snake, which way you gonna go?
Oh, but then that's kind of stupid. Like the example I'm saying is it's the same distance either
All right,
way.
cool. A mile and a half this way around the snake. A mile and a half around the snake. So
well, I'm saying, but if that mile and a half is going to take me beyond the time that I need to make it to this other side, then I can't go that way.
I mean, if you're gonna keep on throwing in caveats, then
Well, I mean, you're offering conditions and you're asking me to respond to them unconditionally. Don't change the situation. Don't change the question if you don't want me to change my answer. What?
You're a jerk.
That's just I hate when people do that. So if I did this, then you're gonna do this. What you just said to me is that if the situation was different, would I have responded different? Yeah. Chances are. But anyway, I'm just saying that there are many people that lean on mental health and call it mental health and call it trauma because I agree with her, and not across the board. Everybody that claims mental health or they're protecting their peace is not fragile.
Right.
But people that are sheltering, I feel that's the fragile individual. When you are sheltering, just like the kid that ain't never been in a fight because mom's is always there, pops is always there. Like you don't let him do nothing. Mm-hmm. And then when you get to a situation where you can't be there, he have no idea how to react. Right. What do I do? Next thing you know, you just in a ball and getting beat up, and you just don't even understand why. Mm-hmm. Part of it is this person's got no business hitting you. The other part of it is you don't know how to make him stop.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
because you've been sheltered. I mean, and that's the part that I do agree with. That's why I said there's certain parts that I do agree with, but I just don't think it's I don't think it's across the board. I feel like she's talking to these people that are mentally weak. These people that want to use mental health as an excuse for their whatever it is. Yeah. I don't want to do this. I don't feel like doing this. They are their inactivity when it comes to, when it's time to move, to pull the trigger on something. Oh, it's mental health. And it's not always mental health. Shut up, you soft, lily-livered.
Right. Exactly.
Oh my gosh, these people make me sick. And it's a slap in the face to people who really deal with it.
I would also agree with that. And I would have to say this for the people that for the fragile people, there's no such thing as a coward. That word doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. Oh, right. But
it 100% does.
You know what I mean?
Because it's them. They are the cowards.
Indeed.
Yeah.
All right.
And I'm gonna tell you this: the people that I know that have mental health issues, like real mental health issues, are some of the strongest people that I know.
Okay.
They're some of the strongest people I know. Because in order to endure, to be able to still function with this level of depression or anxiety or whatever it is that you're dealing with, to still be able to function, man, that takes a lot of strength, especially when you're in that dark room. Man, I've been in that dark room and have had to go be a functioning member of society. I have had to teach classes. Mm-hmm. I've had to stand up in front of people and give presentations and teach classes when I'm in such a dark place. Mm-hmm. That's strength right there. That's mental fortitude. I'm telling you that takes a lot of strength.
I'd agree with that. That's and matter of fact, that is kind of why I hesitated earlier when you spoke of suicide because I've heard people not just call it selfish, but call it weak.
Mm-hmm.
Because the opposite is what you just described. Strength. Sidestepping that level of depression or internal turmoil and deciding I'm going to push forward and go do this anyway is an amazing amount of strength.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, people deem it dismissive to call somebody that commits suicide weak. And I mean, I'll just say I don't, for the sake of not offending anybody, especially if you feel like, if you got family members or whatever, I don't want to call it weak, but it's super duper strong to be able to come out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. The strength is amazing. So
it is. It really does. It takes a lot, man. It takes a lot. Because that room, horrible place to be.
Understood.
Horrible place to be. But
well, all right. We come to the end of another episode. I don't know if we agree, disagree. Not that necessarily is the point.
Right. I feel like we agreed, and I don't think there was so much disagreeing. I feel like today we were looking at something. We were looking at the same thing and maybe seeing it differently.
Yeah.
But then the more and more we spoke, I was seeing what you were seeing. I was seeing some of what you were seeing, and you were seeing some of what I was seeing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
right.
like I feel like we ordered a pizza. You got something on your side. I got something else on my side. But the point is, we got pizza.
Yeah. And the thing is, and that's we're not at odds.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, and primarily because even if I don't understand, I tell my kids all the time the difference between contrast and conflict is respect. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So even if I don't understand, I don't agree, I ain't got no reason to disrespect you.
Nah.
You know what I mean?
You can disagree without being disagreeable.
Done. Even when you light skin. So
yeah. All right, fine. I will next family gathering, I'll bring my unicorn because I know that's where this is really coming from. You're jealous. You're jealous because I got a unicorn.
Hold a second. How did you just deflated just a second? I just called you light skin and you went what?
I was laughing.
Was that a laugh? That's what it sounded like. You sprung a leak. That was wild. I think you got a little bit smaller too, just a little bit. I can see just a little more of the chair. Yo, anyway, what's the quote for next week?
Yeah, that is a very good question. Okay, so typically you all know what we do is at the end of the show, whomever chose the quote for the current show, the other person chooses the quote for the next show. All right, you want to go ahead and close this out?
Oh, so you don't have that, huh?
I mean, like I wasn't going you didn't have to point it out. I don't think they realized it.
Oh,
yeah.
I said it again.
Yeah. So we gonna act like ain't none of that ever happened.
Right. Well, you can edit it, right?
Not when it's live.
Yeah, not when it's. No worries.
I'll tell you what, actually, give me a second because I may be able to. Actually, no, I'm not doing that.
No, we don't have a second. It's we already been on here too long. People is like, what are y'all doing? We have,
and I'm sleepy.
All right. Well, cool.
I was about to go create some boundaries.
Right. All right. Well, another episode of Quotes and Mirrors, in the books. I appreciate y'all listening. Appreciate y'all watching, chiming in for those who did, and for those who did not. I guess maybe I'll create a boundary. You never know. So, but I am Uncommonterry,
and I am Relic. And on that note, and I quote, peace out.